Good evening, everyone. This is Mayor Shawyn Patterson Howard, and we're really excited to join you tonight for a Let's Talk with Shawyn. We have a very special guest tonight, our new superintendent of the Mount Vernon City School District, Dr. Demario Strickland. Dr. Strickland was sworn in as the new superintendent of the school district on July 1st of 2025. He is approaching his first 100-day benchmark in office, and we're excited to have him here with us tonight. Can we bring Dr. Strickland into the live feed? Hi, Dr. Strickland.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening. Good evening, community.
Well, look, I just want to say, even before you were sworn in officially, you were coming down to Mount Vernon. You had found a place and a new home to live down here.
Mm-hmm.
You were out and about in the community. You were showing up at meetings and showing up at community events, which really showed a lot of dedication in a ramp-up period to the time that you were officially sworn. So we want to thank you for that commitment. And you've been very much the man about town, getting to know people. And I guess with the whole line dance, boots on the ground, well, you've definitely been a demonstration of having boots on the ground as you are ramping up and starting to lead this district. So if you could just start out by telling us a little bit about yourself, and then I know you have some of your vision that you want to share with our community, and we want to make sure we give you maximum time to do that. And everyone, we're asking you to please take this and share it so that we could share this conversation with our Superintendent Strickland. And as you have questions, please make sure that you put them into the live feed. Okay? Thank you. Dr. Strickland, the floor is yours.
All right. Great evening, City of Mount Vernon residents. I hope you're doing well. I just had a board meeting last night, and now I'm up again this night, but wouldn't miss the opportunity to address the citizens of Mount Vernon. I am Dr. Demario Strickland, proud superintendent of the Mount Vernon City School District. I come to you by way of Buffalo, New York. That is where I was born and raised. My family lives there, both my mom, dad, grandma, grandparents, and my sisters, nephews, the whole gamut of my family. From a young age, I sort of knew that education was my passion. And, I would teach like the kids on my porch, round up all the kids in the neighborhood and start teaching them and using the teachers' old worksheets and whatnot at the end of the year. And those are the smartest students on the block. But that was my passion at a very early age. Began my teaching career after my full ride to Canisius University, which is in Buffalo, New York, formerly Canisius College. Started teaching all boys in Brooklyn, New York at Brooklyn Jesuit Prep, which is a private school serving the underserved youth. And now I believe it's East New York. They've moved the location. Then went on to open a charter in Harlem, St. Hope Leadership Academy. Missed home, went home to Buffalo, New York. That's where I really got deep into my administrative experience as an assistant principal and principal of a receivership school. And after COVID, decided to make a change that took me to Rochester, where I ascended very rapidly, coming in as a chief of schools, then deputy superintendent of teaching and learning, and then interim superintendent, which was slightly unexpected after the departure of the sitting superintendent. And now I'm here in Mount Vernon, proud of it, living right in the community, and I'm excited to talk with the mayor today.
All right. Well, I can say that, you held one of the most energetic convocations that I've seen. And during the convocation, you definitely laid out a vision. not long in, right? Not the convocation was right after Labor Day, so you were about 60 days in, but you're
Yes.
doing your homework and really looking at how to transform the district and to get it to be, as you call it, the jewel box. The
Yeah.
jewel box. We're the jewel of Westchester, and so you said the school district is the jewel box, right?
Yeah.
And I really want you to just take a little bit of time to share with us your vision,
Sure.
and your focus, and the what and the how.
Ab- Absolutely. And I do have a presentation that I prepared. So if that can be put up, I will go through those slides. Yeah, so let's talk with Sean, one of our cute young students in the Mount Vernon City School District. That's one of the things that I love to do, is to make sure that we bring the students into the room in any space that we are a part of, and it helps us keep focus on, the why, the true why. And he's there, just at a book fair, just loving on the books, and that's what we want to do, is really impact literacy. So next slide. So I wanted to tell everyone what my core beliefs are. It's very hard to come into a space, as an outsider, and try to make a large impact. And the best way to do that is to really share what my core beliefs are. So I have just five of them. I mean, I'm sure that these have sub bullets, of course. But the first and foremost is that every child has unlimited potential. I believe that through and through, and that is every child, from a student with a disability to English language learner. It doesn't matter. Our black and brown boys, every child has the potential to accomplish something. And we need to acknowledge that and make sure that we keep that at the forefront. Literacy is the key to unlocking a child's future. Um, Literacy is a civil right, and unfortunately, a lot of members of our community, a lot of student members of our community, and even some adults are not able to actually read. And this has to definitely be at the forefront, because now everything we do involves reading.
Mhm.
The math test is even a reading test now. The science test is a reading test, and so we really got to hone in on ensuring our students are able to have the tools equipped that are going to help them be able to read by third grade, and then subsequently they will be able to read to learn on their own after third grade. The quality of teaching determines the quality of learning. So teaching, I started and I said, I love teaching. I used to put a lot of time and energy into lesson planning, making sure that I was ready for each and every single day. Lesson planning is all about actually finding out what the misunderstandings of the students will be, so that they don't have those misunderstandings. And if there's some research out there that says, literally, if a child has a quality teacher 2 years in a row, that exponentially increases their ability to reach the finish line, and that finish line being graduation and hopefully college and or career. Strong relationships create strong outcomes. As the mayor said before, I've been boots on the ground, both in the community and in the schools, really trying to diagnose and assess, what are the strengths of the district. And I start with the strengths, because often it's been met with, I've been met with, well, you're gonna have to fix this, you're gonna have to fix. No, I want to start off with, what are the sort of gems that we have going on in our district, and how do I really put those forward, so that all those negative portions or those negative pieces are positively lifted, and we are able to work for the betterment of our students. And finally, a child's zip code should not determine their future. Since moving to Mount Vernon, I mean, I've noticed and been told about the North and South divide, and I'm like, oh my goodness, my job is to make sure that all the schools are great, all the schools are excellent, all the students have a quality teacher and are able to ensure that they are high quality schools. It should not matter. I grew up as a little boy on the east side of Buffalo. And that is the community which was heavily black and brown, heavily marginalized, heavily, like I said, black and brown. And of course, that was also the neighborhood where that mass murderer went into the grocery store and took the lives of individuals that, senseless lies. I mean, senseless acts. And that's my neighborhood. You know what I mean? So, and if you follow the story, that was intentional. So, folks came into that neighborhood to tear it down even more. And regardless, I was a principal in the same neighborhood, and I had wait lists in my school. So that was because of the quality of teaching. It was because of those strong relationships that I were creating. And it's because of my belief in children. Next. So I've come up with some foundational pillars for the school district, and I won't go into the details. It's like very small, but these are now in every single school. And hopefully, as we in the next few months begin to develop a strong strategic plan, the goal is to center the strategic plan around these foundational pillars, which student-centered excellence, high quality instruction, and innovation. You have to be innovative in order for your ability to impact today's student, today's scholar. Inclusive community and culture, we have to involve parents, we have to involve our organizations, we have to involve our block clubs, we have to involve everyone because it takes a village. Our churches, we definitely know that all of us together can ensure that students are great. Nurturing partnerships, I made jokes and said, we're fiscally challenged in our school district, and I'm starting to uncover things that are fixable, but there are some things that just will continue to weigh down for a few years. However, if we nurture partnerships, then it takes the burden or the financial burden off, and it's the way we come together and work for our students. It would behoove me as a superintendent of a district in fiscal distress. We have to have excellence through financial stewardship. We have to ensure that money is geared towards the classroom, and that's the last place where it needs to be taken. And that's that's very tough and challenging, and it brings a lot of no's to many individuals. But again, we have to think about the classroom and the classroom alone, and then finally, sustainable operations and systems. I'm a big systems guy. I will ask you where the standard operating procedure is, where's the handbook, where's the schedule, so on and so forth. And so I'm getting the trying to change the mindset of the district so that we truly run more efficiently and effectively, so that we enhance the lives of children. Next slide. So I've come up with some SMART goals that will be sort of adjusted, and one of the things that I would like is to have 5% increases in New York State. ELA mathematics assessments, I want to increase to 50.8 and 44% respectively. I talked about the grade 3 and literacy. That is going to be crucial. So I personally made that a goal, which would be increasing students from 48% to 53%. Now, I hope and pray we make those goals. However, don't think that I would be happy if we and give up if we are where we are, because that means 47% are still not proficient. And, we have to make sure that those 47% are consistently moving and grooving so that they are able to be proficient and get closer to the finish line, which is graduation. Grade 5 for mathematics, moving from 39% to 44%. Algebra is a gateway to students not graduating from high school. And fifth grade, if a student is ready and proficient by fifth grade, then they're going to generally have an easier time sixth grade and up in when it becomes more algebraic in mathematics. Looking at our ninth grade students earning 5 or more credits, if a ninth grader earns 5 or more credits, they have an exponential chance of graduating as well. So I'm going to be really honing in on those data points. And finally, moving the graduation rate 5% as well. Now we're in limbo between 75, 76%. We have to certify our data. There's apparently we might have an increase, which is great. So this might have to change, but nonetheless, the bar will change if the 76% does change. And I will say that again, I will celebrate 81% or 82%. However, that also means that 19% haven't reached the finish line, and we have to really diagnose what it is that we're going to do to support those students. Next. I have a few focuses that I've just been really drilling into every single person, the staff, and our principals, I really stand on these. And the first one is sweeping at your own front doorstep. I believe, you know, you have to make sure your mess isn't junk or it isn't it is cleaned up before you start pointing and putting blame on everyone else. It's easy to blame, but how do you accept responsibility? There has been, things that have happened already, and I've only been in the office for 93 days, and I take responsibility, and I just take that responsibility and say I have to clean up, even if it was before me. It doesn't matter. I'm the representative of the district, but I will say that, offering grace and making sure that you do sweep at your own front doorsteps will ensure that everyone is working collaboratively to problem solve and get things done. Next. I like to say, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. And hopefully, you bring me more than one solution, because generally I might say no to the first one and the last one, but the middle one, you might get me with that one. But too often, people just have a problem about this, have a problem about this. But I make upwards to 5,000 decisions a day. It's very helpful to leaders out in the community. It's very helpful when you offer solutions with all the issues that are at hand. And too often people just drop the problem and then that's it. And we have to work together and be, responsible together.
So I'm gonna push back on that, right? Because I believe
Okay.
the same thing. It's not like I say, "Don't bring me no bad news." That's a song
Yeah.
from The Wiz, right?
Hmm.
My thing is, if you're gonna bring me a challenge, then also be willing to be part of the solution and say, "Well, people say, but we were elected or you were hired to do that. That's not my issue."
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's our community. At the end of the day, it's our
Absolutely.
tax dollars. And most importantly, it's our children. And so,
Absolutely.
how, our children it's not just that they're our future,
Hmm.
but they will, what we produce now is who will take care of us or not take care of us later. And so, we want to make sure that the investment in them is something that can return. And so, how do you kind of really convince people from just coming to meetings and spilling? And kind of trauma dropping and
Hmm.
frustration dropping at a meeting and then walking out, how do you get them to come to the table to work with you on solutions?
I actually agree with you 1000%. And actually, I just told my staff the other day, don't give me the half truth. Because what's happening is you then find that there's holes, and when you do that, then I can't plan accordingly. So I mean, I just use the bring me some solutions to, and maybe I should tweak it a little bit. Don't just bring me problems, bring me solutions. Maybe that's the tweak. But I definitely do like to hear when there are holes, because that's what I do. I don't want to put band-aids on things, though. And I think this goes to what your point was, Mayor. Um, Help me not just put a band-aid on it. Help me stitch it up. Help it heal. And that's going to help the district be successful. Next slide. And finally, I really have a get to attitude. I don't got to uh, get on with the mayor tonight and talk to the city residents. I get to do that. I get to represent our district. I get to really talk positively about our district. I get to really show that we do have some great things going on in our district. And I'm excited that I get to do that. And I want our staff to really understand it's a privilege and an honor to be in front of our children. We get to invoke positivity on the lives of our students, and that's honestly next to none. Next slide. And then here's the gems of instruction. This is the absolute bottom line. Um, and it's the acronym is growth and grade level content. And what that means is basically I need to ensure that tier one, which is grade level, is exposed to students every single day. you know, um, People often use the phrase meet the children where they are. No, I tell them to pull them where we are. I can read at a 22 grade level. So I want that child to read at my grade level. I'm not going to keep feeding them, lower level text and thinking that they're going to all of a sudden come up in the world. No, we have to really think about how are we scaffolding and providing opportunities for students to really practice at higher levels, because that's what builds muscle. That's what's going to bring them up. The E is for empowered and engaged learners. When I go into classrooms, I want to hear students talking and conversing with each other. It should not be so much teacher talk. We should be bringing in culturally responsive text and getting our students to engage and problem solve together so that they are prepared for the world that we live in. M is for mastery of thinking and learning, and the students need to be doing the majority of the cognitive work. They need to be doing having the high load when they are finished. Too often, and I used to be one of them as a teacher would leave exhausted, and the kid leaves and they just ready to go and they go outside and play. No, make school so challenging and so riveting that soon as the children leave school, they are exhausted, because again, it's about building stamina, it's about building character, it's about building resilience, and that's what we need to do, making sure we're challenging our students. And then finally, success measured through progress. It's very important to progress monitor. I've already been progress monitoring. I've asked, department heads, I want to know updates on A, B, and C. I want to ensure that we are at a space where we are really getting things done. Unfortunately, and I was talking with the mayor about this today, right now my job is really technical rather than adaptive. And adaptive leadership is where I want to go, because adaptive leadership is what's going to actually get students to the next level. This technical work is really going to get us to be more efficient. So, and then at the end, if we do these things, we're going to shine brilliance in every single classroom. Next slide. I think that might be. And then just a few updates. Celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, we are going to have a celebration at the district office later this month, which I'm excited. We're going to be honoring students, and not just the students with all A's, but students that have a great character or great leadership, or they've done something heroic. And it's going to be important that we do that on a monthly basis. But do want to say happy Hispanic Heritage Month. I do know our population is increasing, and I just want to make sure that we honor this important culture as we do everyone else. Next. I showed this yesterday in my presentation, really partnering with the city to make sure that our streets are safe, our kiddos are leaving school and heading home and not getting into trouble, so that businesses can thrive and not have to worry about students that are unruly. So I and my staff are going to continue to partner with the Mount Vernon Police Force to really try to curb the amount of disruption that typically happens. And yes, that's in front of the McDonald's. And I did actually go in. I wanted some chicken nuggets and French fries, but I didn't have time. I was working, but I did talk to some of the families, and they were very pleased to see me out there. And it's not going to be the last time. Mayor, did you have something to say? You wanted to pop in?
No, I just want to say thank you because that's a conversation we've been having. Things were different when I was growing up. Look, I've almost been out of high school for 40 years, but when I went to school, the bus monitors rode on the buses with us. The school administrators walked down the hill from Davis with us all the way up to Fourth Avenue and Second Street or Third Street, right? Depending.
Yes.
Um, and so when you have the police out there and you have community leaders out there, fathers, mothers, grandmothers out there,
Yes.
and when you have your administrators and your school staff out there, because they're the ones who really know the kids, and they're able to say, "Come on, Joe, we're not doing that. Come
Yes.
on, Lisa,
Yes.
we're not doing that." Not just in a punitive way, but they have relationships,
Yes.
and when the young people see you, right? Because that's what we have to do as adults. We can't just talk at children and young people when we want to correct them. We have to build
Correct.
relationships with them. And when you build relationships with them, and when you show up at their dance shows and you show up at their games, and when you show up for activities that they're doing and support them, and then they see you on Gramerton Avenue, they see you on Fourth Avenue, they see you on Third Street, they see you somewhere, they stand up
Absolutely.
a different way. And you look at them and
You,
say, "Girl, I know you're not getting ready to do that. Stop it. Stop it.
yep.
I know who you are. I know your family." Then they stand up a different way.
Absolutely.
And that's what we see when we're out there. So it's not like the cops are out there as some militarized force.
No,
They're out there
no.
talking and building relationships. And, I want to thank you and some of your administrators for being out there. And hopefully we can continue this because there hasn't
Absolutely.
been a fight, right? There's been no fights on Grambling Avenue near the Pizza Hut and near the Dunkin' Donuts or the McDonald's, really since Easter break.
Well,
Definitely not for the new school year, right?
no.
So when kids used to go viral for stopping there and fighting and kind of trying to boost their Instagram and their TikTok
Yes.
followers, because that's what a lot of it is about. A
Yes.
lot of it isn't about any real beef. It's
True.
just about gaining street cred and going viral for, silly things. But the presence out there of the police, the administrators, some parents, the fire department, and as we're building relationships with the kids and having conversations and connecting them to programs and services is making a difference. So thank you for making that partnership possible.
Absolutely. And we know it's not perfect. Me, just as a former principal, I mean, it's hard, especially at the end of the day. We're collecting cell phones now, as per the governor's order. I just really needed to mention that people are still emailing me. I don't like this policy. I said, listen, the policy is the policy, and that's the policy, and the policy originated from legislation, and we were forced to comply. But it is what it is. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty sure that my presence, my administrators' presence, teachers' presence will continue to enhance that. And as you said, Mayor, I was out with the officers, and they're just saying, "Good afternoon." And many of your officers work in our schools, or they are the coaches and things of that nature. And that really does have a huge advantage.
And
Next
we have
slide.
some of the
Oh,
people on the feed saying, keep it up.
thank you.
They
Yes,
like seeing
awesome.
you guys out there.
Awesome, awesome. Next slide. So I did do a climate survey, and I did want to share some of those results because I wanted to talk about some of the areas where I know that we have to where our strengths are and areas that need to enhance. And again, I shared this last night as well, but I wanted to share it with the broader community because everyone's voice matters, and I want to make that very clear. I had over 1,400 participants. 39% were students, which I loved that. But we did ask them questions about like, how do they feel supported by district level leadership? 50% of them said yes. 65% agree that schools promote a culture of inclusivity and diversity. And, a good number, but I still want to boost this up even more. 81% of the children, of the students, feel teachers care about them. And I think that's a testament to how hard our students, staff, teacher aides, or excuse me, teacher assistants, custodians, cleaners, you name it. They care about our students. The strengths of our community, we have dedicated educators and staff, and I see it every single day. I went to Lincoln School today, walked around, just saw students so happy, engaged, teachers stopping me saying, "Hi, I'm glad to see you," things of that nature. I just love that. 73% of our parents responded that our schools are welcoming. Again, uh, often the loudest voices are the ones that are angry. But to see that 73% of those parents that did respond say they felt welcome was something that we can grab on to and keep improving. And then finally, 77% said of our students said that there's at least one adult in the school that they can trust. And often I gave this example to my administrators. I said, I wrote down the names of every single kid in what I would call my war room or my data room. And the job that those posters stayed up during all my grade level meetings, and every teacher needed to go and say which student that they connected with. And if I saw students without names next to them, then it was the responsibility of one of those individuals in that grade level or in the school to find a way to connect with that student that did not have a connection with the student. So hopefully we really bolster these percentages, but these are some strengths. Next slide. Here's some priorities. So transparency. I hear this every day. The district's not transparent. Listen, I'm not gonna tell you the tomato is fresh and then it's got little worms and it's wilted and things of that nature. Because one, I'm not a good liar. Two, I just want to be honest. I'm gonna say that tomato is a little wilted or it's not ripe or it is inhabited because you just have to be honest. And 55% of the respondents said the communication and transparency was inadequate. Parent and teacher support on 29% of parents, 23% of teachers said they felt supported by district leadership. And I kind of still want to unpack that a little bit more. Like, what does support from district leadership look like? And I really haven't taken the time to really dive into that, but that is something that I am going to really hone in with district staff and the team that I'm currently building. Curriculum and instruction practices, 78% dissatisfied with curriculum materials. 45% dissatisfied with the instructional focus and teaching quality. That was rather alarming, and that's one of my fortes. I call myself the teaching and learning superintendent. I am the instructional leader of the district, but you know, um, I'm really helping to support my assistant superintendent and make sure that he has all the tools that he needs to be successful. Because if the curriculum and the instructional practices are not at a high level, students won't be able to accomplish great things. We need greater equity in the curriculum. That came out a lot. Students need to learn about their culture, who they are, and we need more support for special education and multilingual learners. And then finally, 17% of the faculty and staff feel valued. That's very, very low. So that right there told me I have a culture problem. And that's what I'm doing. I'm really trying to lift up. I'm really trying to make sure that we make people feel appreciated. I want our board meetings to really celebrate individuals, celebrate the staff, make sure that we are in a space where we are just showing excellence and really acknowledging when we do have some issues, but we're really honing in on that excellence because there is more good than bad. Next slide. And then finally, this is what I'm doing. I'm polishing the jewel. I'm not. Um, I'm very grateful to all those that came before me, and I want to pave the way to all those that come after me. And this place is has already, in a short period of time, become extra special to me, and I'm very grateful to be here. And Mayor, I think that's it. That's that.
So thank you so much, Dr. Strickland, for
Absolutely.
sharing, an overview of what you found and how you are using the data to inform your priorities and your strategies and your partnerships, and your expectations going forward, because that's really important. And I know you're going to make
Key.
adjustments as you continue to move forward. We're encouraging people, if you have questions for our
Sure.
superintendent, we have some people online. Please put them in the chat, so that, because we are monitoring the chat right now, so that we can respond to them. One of the questions that we do have in
Sure.
the online chat right now is, how can we get some of the
Sorry, you know
students?
what I done did?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I did what
Yeah,
people do. Oops. I was
you
like,
just got to
oh,
turn the volume
yep,
down on the
my
live on
bad.
your phone.
Yep.
So, Ernest Thompson Mills asked, how do we address the grooming standards of our young people, particularly our young men? How do we get them to pull up their pants and comb their hair and, look like they're
Yeah.
coming to school ready to work, as opposed to kind of ready to hang out or roll over?
Well, I love those questions. Our young people today, um, what we need to do. So, I grew up, even though I'm only 40 years old, but I grew up in grandma's house and granddad's house. So I have like this older spirit at times. And one of the things that I've almost like studied is interactions with our youth and what makes that go left or what makes it stay right. Okay. And I like using that terminology. What makes it go left or what makes it stay right? And the biggest thing that we have to do is first greet them. You wouldn't be you would be shocked about the amount of judgment that comes against the children before we even say hello. And I hear things when I'm in the schools, um, and when I hear the N word or when I hear vulgar language, I say, "Hey, how you doing?" And then I say, "Can you watch your mouth a little bit, please?" But they already feel, "Whoa, uh, he said hi first," and you don't know how long that goes. And another thing is, I go between different styles. So, last week we had one of the days off for what's one of those holidays? And I
Last week was
apologize.
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah. Yes, I'm not used to having that day off, so forgive me, folks, for that. But I will say that the second day, no, the first day, district office was open. So that day I went in with my Timberlands. My pants were on. I had a nice polo, but I show both sides. And then when I go into the schools, I'm trying to go in and showing them that, hey, I got a shirt and tie on, and I try to make it look good. Kids make jokes because I do have waves in my hair, so they're seeing that, and they start catching on. And I, even as a principal, I remember kids would dress like your favorite person. They would come in trying to dress like Dr. Strickland. And that's what we have to do. We just have to show the example. But the first thing we have to make sure of doing whenever we're trying to address the children is to say hello.
Hmm.
And you won't be surprised. Too often, people don't even say anything to the children, so they don't know. And we take their knowledge or what they've been told or taught at home for granted. They may not have ever been told how to tie a tie. I get compliments all the time on my clothing now. And but it didn't start this way. It became, people would tell me this is something that would look good for you. That's what we have to do with our young folks. And I won't stop until we get there. And I hope that answered it.
Okay, so I have a few more people who have kind of chimed in. So Daniel Terry says programs like junior, ROTC, My Brother's Keeper, trade and music programs have been underfunded or discontinued, and that these are programs that have historically had a big impact on the youth, and that he personally benefited from these programs. And what are your plans for programs like these or anything similar?
So I'm continuing to learn the landscape of what's happening in our schools. JROTC is a program that I am familiar with, and I made sure that we had during my time in Rochester, making sure that schools had a JROTC program because it did instill discipline. And, not all students have to commit to the armed forces after college, but it really did help give students some structure while they were in school. They had opportunities to go to the Jets game. Actually, those students from Rochester literally did the colors at the New York Jets MetLife Stadium. And I know how important that is. Basically, it's now as I get my feet wet and really start uh, having that team that I need to go out there and look for competitive grants and really start to build up the funding sources, then I can provide those opportunities for the students. But also, I have to continuously go through the budget and determine where is the fat, where can we divert the resources so that we ensure that students have what they need to be successful. And often the curriculum and instruction things are the first things to go, and that has to stop. That can't be. So I am already looking into some just different things that I've had in different districts. JROTC is one of them. I was in Buffalo, and we really had a strong MBK program. I do know we have two MBK fellows here, but that also takes partnerships, And again, I said I want to nurture partnerships. Just because we have two MBK fellows doesn't mean we can't have an MBK program, or it doesn't mean we can't have a My Sister's Keeper program. Like we just have to develop partnerships and with local organizations, some people that are just out there not saying, hey, I want money, but hey, I just want to give a hand. And I'm just committed to making those relationships work and happen so that we can really support our young folks.
Look, please know that our youth bureau here, our Department of, Parks and Rec, are also here, our Office of Veterans Affairs, our Office for the Aging. We have a lot of
Hmm.
our seniors out there who have still marketable skills and lots of energy, who, if the school district is open to having them, would want to come in and do some things. And so you said earlier, don't bring me don't just bring me problems, because you said you're going to edit.
Yes.
Don't just bring me
Yes.
problems, bring me solutions.
I agree.
So we have Wodo OG Ogbana here who says, have you considered having a parent advisory board? I'm a school principal in the Bronx and a mother of 3 boys who all go to Mount Vernon schools. I think having a group of knowledgeable adults to bounce ideas off of, to serve as a focus group or a place to hear from concerned parents who are looking for solutions and resolutions, I would love to be a part of that. I know there are opportunities for parents
Yes.
to be involved through PTA
Absolutely.
or PTA council, but
Yes.
would you be open potentially to a superintendent's parents advisory board, so that you could hear in a different way? So I guess that's what they're asking.
Yes, I mean, actually, I really do encourage and plug the parent-teacher organizations or parent-teacher and student associations that we have in our districts. They're not as strong as they need to be in every school, but one of the things I just talked to Miss Anderson today, and she said, "I'm going to get you a report of the PTAs that are not as active." And I said, bring me that report so we can ensure that we become active. But I am starting with them. And I'm never opposed to working with parents. Again, I was, parents are partners and they need to be treated as such. Um, Anything we do, we need to make sure that we involve parents. So when, if we're looking at new curriculum, we need to make sure that we have opportunities for parents to sit on those committees. Um, I know that there's a focus group that my assistant superintendent for student personnel services is about to start. She wants parents to help go through the registration process, because when she did it, and she did it herself, she was like, this is a lot. This is too much. And we are going to need parents for that. I'm going to be having a strategic planning committee. We're going to need parents for that. The largest venue that I would like to use would be the PTA, generally, to say, hey, I need you to hopefully get me 2 to 3 parents from each school so that we can begin to do A, B, or C. But I will continue to think of ways on, with that advisory board. I have the PTA Council is now a standing board, a school board committee, and I am meeting with them every single month, and they're going to bring me, what it is those ideas are, and I just would truly encourage you to be involved with the PTA. They need the support at the school level. I know she said a parent of 3 boys. Hopefully they're all in the same school. That's something else we're working on. But I really want to just lift the efforts of our parent teacher and parent teacher student organizations.
Thank you. So we also have, again, so one of the things that I'll be doing in January, I want to do it before if I can find some common time on the calendar to make it happen. We're doing budget, we're doing comprehensive plan, we're doing charter review, some foundational things to government here. And then
Yes.
lots of holidays are coming up. But as a person who worked in a not-for-profit space, who's worked between not-for-profit and government for the past 35 years, I like to hold a not-for-profit summit.
Absolutely.
And bringing our not-for-profits together, all of them together for a big, massive summit, so we can look at what some of the priorities are and how our not-for-profits are willing to partner with the city, how they're willing to partner with the school district. We have Dr. Gloria Pope on the line right now, and Dr. Gloria Pope is putting comments in there. She's like, the CBOs are here. And so Dr. Pope, how you doing? Dr. Pope runs a licensed childcare center
Oh, okay.
here in Mount
Okay.
Vernon that has been around for many years. She took it over about 2 years ago. She also
Wonderful.
runs the Daisy Dream Project, and the Daisy Dream Project operates in a storefront over on First Street here in Mount Vernon,
Okay.
and she deals very heavily with children who are neurodivergent. And
Awesome.
I know they have their presence in the school district,
Yes.
and then she has a kind of for-profit entity called Black Girl Everything, right? And so it's all about entrepreneurism
Love it.
and
Love it.
strengthening, young women and women of color and building partnerships and mentoring. That's just, she's like, hey,
Yeah, I love
hi,
it.
Dr.
Love it.
Pope, and so we have in Mount Vernon over 50 not-for-profit organizations. I'm sure Youth Shelter of Westchester and YCOP and the Boys and
Yes,
Girls Club and, things like the Revelators, and they've reached out to you, and there are so many great opportunities and organizations who've been looking for a long time to be more intentional in partnering with the school district in many ways. And like you said, when you don't have a lot of resources, you develop a lot
that's
of friends and partnerships.
I want to be a lot of people's friends, because it really is, it's for the children, though, for real. It's not even just about the finances, it's just what opportunities can I bring to the children to make it easier for them to be successful. And we can really do this. Like there, I've never seen. Well, I will say there's a lot of pride in some of the cities upstate, but the pride here in Mount Vernon is very different. It is an extremely prideful place, and that's why I said I'm proud. I'm the proud superintendent, because if I just say I'm superintendent, you're gonna be like, oh, that's weak. No, I'm the proud superintendent, because guess what? I'm gonna work so hard that I'm gonna have an army behind me ready to support no matter what. I need people to, be in the trenches with me, because this work is not easy. This is not easy work, and I just, yeah, I'm just excited to partner, and CBOs are everything. My dad, you're talking about people that have been in the trenches. My father used to run a community-based organization, and he, would have me there every weekend just helping out individuals in the community, and I had to go, but it opened my eyes to so much, and I'm grateful to that CBO for those opportunities, and I'm very aware of how those resources really can help change, or change the trajectory of the lives of people.
So we have a few people. We have Miss Patrice Edwards on the line, and she said there's not enough activity that's focused on special education students in
Hmm.
the area. And of course, Dr. Pope responded, let's refer those children to the Daisy Dream Project, because those families are their focus. And you had already mentioned
Yes,
in earlier in one of your slides that you talked about that you wanted to have a greater investment and bring more equity and services
absolutely.
to the children with special uh, needs. I don't,
Yes.
the term changes all the time.
No, it's just, as long as you lead with students. They're students first.
Yes,
That's the biggest thing. People say,
and
disabled
English language
students.
learners,
Absolutely.
right? So
Language
you said
learners. Yep.
those are some of the
Multilingual.
areas that you definitely wanted to pull up and
Yes.
invest more time and energy in. We have Randy Scott, who is one of your trustees, who
Yes.
also
Yes.
happens to be the
Great
deputy
guy.
commissioner of the Westchester County Department of Social Services. One saying, how are you connecting with the Department of Social Services on community resources they have for the community, right? There are great opportunities to bring our county agencies and our city agencies to the table. Years ago, DSS was very involved intricately in a chronic absenteeism program. So,
Yes.
how are we tracking our kids who have 10 or more absences? How are we not just waiting for them to fail out, but
Agreed.
reaching out and partnering with DSS, Office of Community Mental Health, the Youth Bureau, the Youth Shelter, YCOP, all of these different student advocacy services to make sure that we're reaching out to families that we see are
Yeah.
challenged.
Well, I will say that, I tell you, I learn, I hear about 5 different things a day, learn about to 15 problems a day. One of the things I heard is that, the Department of Social Services, they are actually assisting with helping students get to school. And we have students that qualify. So, with the transportation crisis that's in all of the United States. And I want to be very clear things, sometimes gets, well, no, this is happening in Mount Vernon. No, like the opportunity, the marginalization of students with disabilities, language learners, multilingual language learners, um, students that are living in poverty, unhoused students. Those are things that are happening across this nation. And it's not just, in Mount Vernon. But how do we all work together to make sure that we get those together? And I just found out, like I said today, they can help transport some students to school if they're living outside of the county temporarily. So we're gonna be taking advantages of all those opportunities. But now I will say that I've seen a spark in the staff to really start being innovative, as I mentioned, taking the initiative to have conversations with people, ask questions. And this was brought to me by one of my registrars. And I appreciated it so much to hear that she kept asking and finding out what it is that she could do to support the babies and get them to school. And
You
that's
know
when
what?
it's your why is coming through.
We're going to have a part two to this, because I want to keep this to under an hour, like 59 minutes,
Yeah,
because then
my
we can,
bedtime is in 2 minutes.
I know we could
8:30.
turn this and post this on Instagram if we keep it
Sure.
60 minutes or less. And so we're going to have to come back. Kathy Brewington, NAACP, is here. Lindsay
Mm-hmm.
Rivera, the Department of Community Services, Mental Health and Children's Services, is here.
Wonderful.
Um, uh, Everyone is saying that they're here. They are here to work. They are here to partner. Danny Terry is saying, sit down with the Young Professionals Network. We can
Oh,
definitely connect you to them. Yeah,
okay.
they started. So we have. Can you give me a wrap up in about 2 minutes?
Sure.
What is something you want to say that you may not have said tonight?
I just want to say, the outpouring of support has been phenomenal. I know there's a lot of people that have been reaching out, trying to meet with me and things of that nature. And as again, 93 days I've been in it. And I just ask for your patience. I ask for your grace, just as I give everyone grace. Um, I often say grace, not grief. And that was from the kid's superintendent. I don't lead with, um, yeah, I don't lead with looking for a problem. I lead with being compassionate, being understanding, and treating people with the utmost integrity and dignity and respect. And if we continue to be positive and really support and not just look for the negative, but really accentuate the positive that happens, we can really make a difference in this city, in this community. And I will put a plug out there. I do not like moving. I moved everything from upstate down here to Mount Vernon, and I am a resident as well. And I don't like moving. So if let's work together to really work it out and be critical friends, but be critical yet supportive friends. And that's what I would want to say. But I definitely appreciate you having me on, and I definitely I'm excited.
So, Dr. Strickland, this is one of hopefully many conversations that we can have jointly with the community on different platforms.
Of course.
I am very clear that I am the mayor, and the mayor is not over the school district, and I don't want to be, right? I'm not an
Hmm.
educator, but I am here to support. I'm an alumni. I want to make
Yes,
sure that our citizens, who are our young people and who will be the future leaders, are well
absolutely.
educated and who are emotionally ready and strong to lead this community.
Yes.
I'm a product of the school district, and to be able to sit in this position is amazing to me right now. We have a siren, but I'm going to end this out, and I'm going to say thank
Wonderful.
you. Thank you. There's an
Absolutely.
ambulance. Thank you. Thank you so much for your leadership and your partnership. And Mount Vernon, let's welcome our Dr. Strickland to the city, and we're here to partner with you. God
Thank
bless,
you.
and have a
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.